Hey everyone, I'm Shelly Palmer, and welcome to Web3 Wednesday. It is Wednesday, and the weather here is in New York is not great. It's sort of wintry. I hope everyone is having a great time. Welcome everybody. Please tell me who you are, where you are. Chat is where it's at here at Web3 Wednesday, so tell me in chat where you're from. And of course, tell each other what you do and any questions you want to ask me today. It's an Ask Me Anything kind of Wednesday. Happy. I'm glad I sound good, Joey. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that the computer is functioning. Anybody interested in the long, remarkable saga of my AMD computer, the 5950X that we're on, all you need to do is just ask, and I will start talking and never stop. Anyway, there's no way getting around some of the crazy that's gone on this week, and we always say that it's a crazy week. This one, yeah, this is a crazy week, I gotta say. First and foremost, the only thing that anyone wants to talk about is Silicon Valley Bank. Of course, some people want to talk about Silvergate. Some people want to talk about Signature Bank. But at the end of the day, this is a, wow, what an unbelievable week this has been for tech. If I was a conspiracy theorist, and I am not a conspiracy theorist, but if I was a conspiracy theorist, I would think that the Silvergate thing started, and again, I don't really want to be talking conspiracy theories, but I would think that the Silvergate thing started with some covert craziness, trying to do something weird with the crypto industry. That would be the U.S. government. That's my conspiracy theory. Something to do with Sam Bankman-Fried and something to do with Alameda and all of that. That spillover to SVB is unclear, but so many people, crazy people and smart people, have started to talk to me about the connections, the kind of dotted lines between Silvergate and SVB. I don't see them that way, but if I was a conspiracy theorist, I can understand how people would be going there. For me, this just feels unfortunate, and my heart goes out to everybody who freaked out over the weekend. Thank you, United States government, for backing up the depositors. That's really important. As far as the executives at Silicon Valley Bank who went super long on super low interest rate bonds at a time when you probably shouldn't have gone long on super low interest rate bonds without having some technical hedges like that professional money managers would do, like the fourth graders would do. I think that's going to all come out in the wash. It was a hell of a weekend, and I am not a conspiracy theorist. I am just a realist. And what I can tell you is that this was a very scary weekend, and for everybody. To my knowledge, from a depositor perspective, things are working out. From an investor perspective, clearly they aren't. Also, I think everyone should be rightfully concerned about the banking system as it sits right now. And I am not giving anyone financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I am not even pretending to be a financial advisor. I'm just a business person who has accounts at banks. And I think it's important for us to ask the questions that we ordinarily wouldn't ask. I don't think you need to do anything more than ask the questions, but I think asking the questions are really, really important. So welcome, everyone. to go deep into SVB, there are so many writings about how this happened, what happened, whose fault it might be, where the regulators were, where the bankers were, where the risk officers were. You can read all about it. We don't need for me to go into the history of how SVB failed, but fail it did. And the FDIC is in charge. And to the best of my knowledge, all of the people that have deposits at Silicon Valley Bank are able to get to their money, to the best of my knowledge. We have several clients that weren't able to and then were able to by Monday. So this Monday passed. So I'm hoping that is still true and it's all true. But I would encourage you to read as much as you can about this, and then ask the questions that need to be asked. So as I ordinarily do, hi to everybody, Sherm the actor, and Steve, and Ettore, and Stephen Lance, and Steve Sobel, glad you're here, and Marvin, glad you're here, and Michael, glad you're here. It's been an unbelievable week for a lot of reasons. The banking thing, which I literally can't tell you how. In my whole life, I don't think I have been this barraged with people scared out, with messages of people scared out of their mind. And I don't think I've ever been this scared. Maybe 2008, when the banking system itself was imperiled because every bank had made really bad investments in things that they thought were not bad investments. This was equally scary and much closer to home because it was so many of my clients and friends. So thankfully, everybody is safe and sound, at least as good as they can be. Let's move on to some interesting stuff. And before we get even to the interesting stuff, let's talk about today's POAP, which you can get. What is a POAP? It's a Proof of Attendance Protocol token. All of you here know that we do Proof of Attendance Protocol tokens. How do you get them? Well, you just go to shellypalmer.com/POAP. And when you collect 5 of them, you get to come to our super secret handshake meetings and salons. We've got good ones coming up. We've got the Possible Conference happening in April. We'll be doing some dinners in Miami. If you happen to be in Miami at the Possible Conference, you can get invited if you've got 5 POAPs. We also do a bunch of online events, so you don't need to only be in person. You can take advantage of some of the online events. We just had one, our CES wrap-up event, and if any of you were there, you can talk a little bit about it in chat. That would be awesome. But anyway, super fun. And hopefully you'll jump in and grab your POAP. Now, moving on. It's all about integration. Yes, we're going to talk about GPT-4 today. And of course, please put your questions in chat. I am completely happy to answer all of your questions today as best I can. It's all about integration. Just last week, OpenAI opened up 2 APIs. One to GPT 3.5, which is the underlying technology behind ChatGPT, and also to Whisper, their speech-to-text tool sets. So now you are going to see an explosion, literally an explosion of just apps that take advantage of this technology, and there's no stopping it. It's everywhere you look, everybody you talk to is going to be putting AI into something, and they're not going to be lying, which is unusual because mostly when people say, well, we're using AI, they aren't. But here, there's no reason not to. It's a for-pay API. You go there, it's based on usage, and unless you've been living under a rock, you know that today GPT-4 was announced, which we're going to get to in just a little bit. We have a question here. What's the question? What's better, Pi Day or Okay, Dan or Dom? Dan or Dom? Dom. Pi Day, which was yesterday, 314 for, pi, 3.14, 159 for those who need to take it out a few more decimal points. Pi Day is a math geeky day. I had my Pi Day t-shirt on yesterday, and I was extremely happy to be part of the Pi Day celebration. You should hug your math teachers every Pi Day. Actually, you should hug your math teachers every day because math teachers are awesome. But I had a couple favorite math teachers who I always reach out to on Pi Day. It was really super, super fun. With respect to Towel Day, you might as well have also mentioned May the 4th for May the 4th day. May the 4th be with you. I have 3 favorite days. Towel Day, of course, which is my Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Day. And a towel, for those of you who don't know, is the most useful thing in the galaxy for those who are hitchhikers. And May the 4th is just a silly day for Star Wars fans, which is me too. Which is my favorite? I like Pi Day the best because it gives me an opportunity to talk about math teachers and the power of education and how important it is for people of all ages to be lifelong learners. And while we think we have learned all the math we need to learn, we really haven't. And also, I like Pi Day because I get to talk about some of the great teachers in my life and the people who have helped me the most. We just don't treat teachers like we should now. I don't know why. They're scared to go to the office, basically. There's a lot of gun violence, and the kids are unruly in ways they haven't been before. They're faced with all kinds of new technologies that they have to learn to deal with every day, all while trying to keep our kids safe and educate them. And it's not just the book learning, right? There's so much sociology. There's so many things that go on in the in school every day that help form your worldview. And teachers are a big part of that, and we just don't give them enough credit. So I like Pi Day because I get to thank the great math teachers that I've had in my life, and I get to thank all the other teachers too. It's something that's really important to me. So yeah, that's my favorite one. While we're talking about things that are favorite, I think everybody should be tweeting right now. So at Shelly Palmer, just tweet something. I don't care what you tweet, doesn't matter. Just tweet something. All right, moving on. Bada bing, bada boom. Microsoft added ChatGPT. Actually, they added GPT-4 without telling anybody. Everybody thought it was GPT-5. They added GPT-4 to Microsoft Bing as part of their search service. I think I showed it last week. I don't need to show it again. Basically, it's just part of the search. It improved their numbers in ways no one can believe. Microsoft is now it's in the search conversation. So that's kind of amazing if you think about it, because Microsoft had not in any way been part of the conversation. So now Bing is part of the conversation. And I think that's important. Google is about to bring out some stuff that they're going to incorporate into the Google Suite, all of the Google Workspace. So when you start putting together all the things that are coming out that are applications inside of other applications, Google will, of course, be not using GPT-3 or 4. They're going to use their own Lambda models. Microsoft has made the investment in OpenAI, so everything you see from Microsoft will be OpenAI based or GPT-3 and 4 based. Facebook has announced Llama, which is their large language model. I have no idea what they're going to bring out. They're talking about all kinds of different tools that they're going to make available using their own large language model. We're going to start seeing all of these models integrated into every piece of software, every workflow, every process. And what's interesting is we were talking about prompt crafting over the last few weeks, where you learn to speak to the model specifically. You tell it who you are, you tell it what you want, you tell it what the audience is, and you learn to craft a prompt. And I think that is a really important skill. It's especially important with the art programs like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion. Very important, because if you can't describe what you're looking for the model or what you're asking the model to create, it certainly can't create it. You can use plain language, but totally plain language with no terms of art, but you get better results when you use terms of art. But as they start to integrate all of this capability into other software, prompt crafting is going to become a skill that is less required day to day. Now, Google hasn't fully rolled out the AI integration into Google Workspace yet, but the way it's supposed to work is in Google Docs, stuff just it's just available to you instantly as you start to write. It's going to start writing with you, and I can imagine that becoming very, very important very quickly. You're not going to need to know anything particularly good or bad. You're just going to need to know to turn it on. So let's get to the only question anybody really wants to hear me talk about today, which is GPT-4. It's here. They haven't released the full version of it into the wild yet. There's only test versions of it everywhere, but there is a test version I can show you at, let me see if I can call this up right now. I just did something really funny with this. So this, I have a GPT Plus account. Let me just put this up here. So this is my GPT Plus account, and it defaults to GPT 3.5, which you can see up here. But you can go to either Legacy or you can go to GPT-4, which, you know, it says is better. So let's just ask it to do something right now. I haven't used my 100 messages every 4 hours, so I think we're going to be okay. Let's ask it. I just did this before. I'm going to do it again. 100 words. Let's just say this. We're just asking it for that. This is something that GPT-3 could do, GPT 3.5 could do. Pretty much any one of them could write this paragraph. Although I have to say, the paragraphs that have been written for me by GPT-4 over the last day and a half since I got it have been better written. You also can tell it to write. If you say put it in a friendly voice or put it in a strict voice or whatever, it actually does a much better job than GPT 3.5 did. So this is just writing this. I'm only going to take a small part of it. I'm just going to maybe take the first sentence right now. And I'm going to say... translate this into Latin. And if you speak Latin, you're about to find out if you do or not, because it actually is doing a pretty decent job. How about, oops, sorry for the caps. And we'll just ask it to do it in French. The translations have been particularly great. Oh, let me see if I make this bigger for you guys. Sorry, I should have made it a little bigger. I apologize. So as you can see, the translation is quick and good and fast, and everybody who, my French is not as good as it could be, but we're asking the most popular dog breeds. Let's just see. From my limited knowledge of French, which is relatively limited, I'm a little better at Spanish. By the way, French speakers out there, let me know how this is doing. This is not so different from Google Translate, except it is different from Google Translate because it's been giving... I used this with some of our friends in Europe yesterday, and they were much more impressed with the business letter capabilities. So translation is getting a lot better. If you ask ChatGPT, if you ask it hard questions now, you ask it harder calculus questions. If you ask it harder anything questions, you're going to get interesting answers. Now, what's really different about ChatGPT sitting over GPT 3.5 and ChatGPT sitting over GPT-4. What's really different about it is that it is just, it's no more trained. It's still to 2021. It's just better, like this much better at everything. But what's coming, I think, is really spectacular. They did a demo you can find online on YouTube you're really going to like. The end of the demo, which I think everybody should watch because it's, you know, something you should watch. Greg Brockman, who's one of the co-founders. Let me just see if I can call this up. Do I have this here? This is the video. Here is the video. I wanted to play this video for you. Wait. You know what I'll do? I'll just show this one. I have this. I will show this instead. At the end, Greg Brockman wrote this little diagram. Now this, if you look at it carefully, what you will see is that this is a handwritten wireframe, for lack of a better way to describe it, a handwritten wireframe of a website. That is a homepage. The top has a title, and then there's what it's supposed to say in the website. He took a picture of this with his phone. Greg took a picture of this with his phone and uploaded it to GPT-4. And then he pasted the code it wrote, and the bottom is the website. It literally coded the website. Literally coded the website. Now, I don't know how good the coding of the website was. He seemed pretty happy with it. Maybe it was great. Maybe it was, all good. I don't know. But at the end of the day, this blew my mind. I mean, literally blew my mind. I didn't know what else to... It excited me, and it also scared the living daylights out of me. We have another question here. This is from Alan M. Is Chat GPT 4.0 now contemporary in its dataset access? No, not to my knowledge. To my knowledge, it's 2021. But what's interesting is you can tell GPT-4 what it doesn't know inside, because it actually has a much larger capacity. I think it's like 32,000 characters, I think now, up from like 3,000. So you can tell it what it's supposed to know, and that was demonstrated in that video. I would definitely ask you to watch the video. Let me see if I can just put this. I don't know if you guys are going to get this in chat. Let me just see if I can put it in chat for you. I think I'm allowed to do this. Let's find out. You tell me if that showed up. That's the video from the OpenAI guys from the announcement yesterday. It looks like it showed up, so you guys can click that. Don't do it now because I want you to keep watching me. But that video is mind blowing, and it tells us. It doesn't tell us where we're going. It tells us where we are. That's the part that I find most exciting about this. And also, when you watch this video, you can't help but thinking, I couldn't help but thinking, what happens if these tools get into the wrong hands? Like, it's so good at fill in the blank. Like, will it be good at all the bad stuff too? And then I had a little moral dilemma, which is, how do I define wrong hands? Like, what does that actually mean? Who are the wrong people? What are the wrong things? There's some easy stuff, bad actors. I mean, I think you can immediately determine who they are and what they are. But I'm not sure that we fully understand what having intelligence decoupled from consciousness available to us full time is what that's. I don't know if that's going to be helpful or harmful on balance. I'm always an optimist when it comes to technology, and I mean always. And so from my perspective, technology is neither good or bad. That distinction is always for people. That is never a distinction for the technology itself. We have a resource page. It's free. You can go there. Like all the things we're talking about today, we've got links to pretty much everything. We've got some case studies there. There's courses you can take at Med Academy, which is our free online courseware. We have the Web3 and the Metaverse. We're just about to put up AI, another a course all about generative AI and how to use it best. And that is a course in flux, obviously, because the business changes every single day. But this resource page is available to you, shellypalmer.com/resources. Just go there and have a good time. I wanted to talk a little bit today. I didn't get to do it last week. I wanted to talk a little bit today about this concept of who's training whom, which, there's a wonderful book by an author named Jared Diamond. It's called Guns, Germs, and Steel. It's an anthropology book. He's a controversial anthropologist. I don't think every anthropologist in the world thinks he's the right guy or he's the guy. He's a guy, and he wrote a book that I really like, Guns, Germs, and Steel. And in it, he has a thesis, and he says he's not sure that we domesticated wheat, the crop. He's pretty sure that wheat domesticated us. Now, this is a fairly deep concept. If there's another author whose book you should really read, books, but he has a book, the original book that he wrote in 1979, I think it was 79, was called The Selfish Gene. The author is Richard Dawkins, and the book, The Selfish Gene, is amazing. It's the book where the term meme is coined. He coins the term meme in that book, and he thinks of a meme differently than we do on the internet today. He thinks of a meme as a non-corporeal life form. He makes a fairly decent analogy, which holds up very well through his argument that an idea or meme is just like a gene in that it is born, it replicates, it mutates, it reproduces all over the place, and ultimately dies. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony is a meme that is still just doing fine. There are some works Beethoven wrote that we do not know about. They have gone through their whole cycle and they're just gone. They don't exist except for a very few music historians may know they exist, and some stuff may just be totally gone. And so memes are ideas, and this idea that ideas can propagate. Inside the book, The Selfish Gene, he talks very deeply about the way that genes express themselves, and that the number one purpose that DNA has is to replicate itself. That's its job. So Jared Diamond in Guns, Germs, and Steel takes this to an interesting place, because he says, well, wheat's job is to do the best it can for itself and to replicate and pass its genes on to the next generation of wheat. And the way he says that wheat did that was by domesticating humans. Now, I think the important part of that argument, and you can get as cerebral as you want, but where the reason I'm bringing it up today is when I think about who's training whom, I think technology always impacts us and we always impact it. And we build technology, which is a fancy word for tools. We build tools to help us navigate our world, to overcome our physical limitations. We built steam shovels and ultimately power tools to build our world. And we've built AI and computers and AI we built to amplify our minds the way that the power tools have amplified our muscles. So sure, we've now got better capabilities. But if you look at the world around us today, and we can get as cerebral as you like right now, all the things we built, the buildings we built, changed the world. New York City used to be a forest. It's not a forest anymore. It's a bunch of big buildings. We've moved rivers. We've put dams in places. We have changed the quality of the air. We added radioactive material that didn't exist, and it's in every one of our bodies and in every living thing since the 50s. I mean, it's like we've changed the world, and the world has changed us. We've adapted to it. Computers definitely changed us. If you show me somebody in America who has their phone book memorized now. When I was in my 20s, I knew every phone number I needed to know in my head, and the ones I didn't need to know every minute, I had written down somewhere, and that book wasn't very far away. And when I really didn't know a phone number, you could dial 411, and it was free back then, when I was in my 20s. No one even knows what any of that means anymore. No one knows anybody's phone numbers. You just press a button, and there's someone, assuming you want to speak to them, assuming. That whole part of our brain is gone. We've outsourced it to our smartphones. Our technology helped us, for sure. We changed the world by making this smartphone, and the smartphone changed us by changing the way we interact with information every single day. So, long setup for who's training whom. Are we training AI or is AI training us? It's a really interesting question. Sure, GPT-4 is going to be able to do an awful lot of things that we would ordinarily consider cognitive, non-repetitive work, the bastion of white-collar workers, and the sovereign rights of humans. No. So are we training the AI, or is the AI training us how to use it better? And when that's all true, what does that all mean? I don't have answers, but it did give me some questions. If you haven't read The Selfish Gene, when you're done reading it, Richard Dawkins is really a remarkable writer. He's an evolutionary biologist and a computer scientist. A really smart guy, and you will feel like a genius when you're done reading The Selfish Gene. It's a great book. And if you are interested in anthropology and you think this thesis is interesting, this idea of who domesticated whom and who's training whom, Jared Diamond's Guns, Germs, and Steel is a really interesting read. It has nothing to do with AI and has nothing to do with computers. It just has to do with the way human beings interact with our environment and how we are part of it and it's part of us. It's really kind of interesting, and I think it's worthy of some conversation. We have some other questions here, which I am happy to take. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. What? Our new Metacademy. Okay, Dwight C. Our new Metacademy course is coming soon. Yes, as I said, we have one on AI coming. It's been revised every day for the last 4 weeks. We were just getting ready to launch it because we figured we'd get it out there. But we want to make sure that the information is useful and also every day useful, not just slightly useful. Again, we put up this resource page, shellypalmer.com/resources. It's not the same as the Metacademy page, although you can get to Metacademy there. And we have current resources there for you. I promise we will have the AI course up, I don't know, soon, next week after, something like that. That's what we're going to try to do. It's just, we're doing the best. We're doing the very best we can. Again, if you have some questions, please put them in chat. I'm happy to answer them if we can. Last week, I wanted to show everybody. I wanted to show you one more thing with ChatGPT. This was kind of funny and wild. Let me get this. Here was where we were, right? Yeah, we were here. So this is GPT-4. I'll just make this a little smaller so you can see that this is. I'll get a new chat going, and let's get to GPT-4. Are you aware of GPT-4? This is kind of funny. So even though I'm in the GPT-4 model, it doesn't know that it's GPT-4. Like, it has no self-awareness. I thought this was pretty interesting. I mean, just in general, I thought this was pretty interesting because it's the very first thing that I wanted to ask it was like, okay, tell me all the features. So let's ask it just for fun. What are the features of GPT-4? Oh, sorry. I have to hit the gizmo here. Let's go down and let it watch. But this is GPT-4. So we're a little confused. I don't want to beat it up any more than I have to. But that, I just thought, I thought that was one of the funnier things. It's like it just has no idea. Oh wait, but here's it. I have to show you this. It's listing what it thinks the GPT-4 capability set is. So enhanced language understanding, which happens to be right. It's going to have it does in fact have enhanced language understanding. A larger training set. Yes, we know that's true too. Improved contextual awareness. That you can be sure of. That's definitely true. Few shot learning. Maybe better optimized few shot learning, meaning it could learn to perform new tasks with fewer examples. I don't know if that's true or false. I have no idea. But the demonstration did demonstrate a version of that if you watch the video. Multilingual, yes. It's leaving out, I think, multimodal, domain adaptations, better adapt to specific domains, more efficient resource usage. All these are pretty generic, and I didn't know that GPT-4 is multimodal, meaning the little trick I showed you when Greg showed off the drawing on a napkin and turning it into a website, which was kind of amazing. Here's a question. Let's see. We don't have it in the system. It says, is there a plan for a version of GPT which is current through the new date? Stephen Sobel. I am unaware of any plans to have GPT anything read the whole internet up to date. I'm sure it's coming. It would be such a world-changing... Well, world-changing is the wrong word. I'm not sure how that would work from a hallucination standpoint. Technically, these systems make stuff up when they don't have the information. You got to really ask ChatGPT where it gets its information, to cite its sources, to give you URLs. If you don't have the subject matter expertise to know what you're looking at, it will fool you into thinking you are getting real information when in fact you're getting nothing that resembles real information. It's just making stuff up. And it does it really well, and it speaks it really authoritatively. That's not the way I use ChatGPT. It's not the way I think anyone should use ChatGPT right now. It's just not a good use of that tech. You want to use ChatGPT, you throw something in there you wrote and tell it to summarize it. You grab a meeting transcript that was a speech to text transcript of your Zoom meeting. You throw it now into GPT-4, which will take 30,000 characters. So you half-hour meeting is going to fit in there. Ask it for 5 bullet points, give you the action items, and tell you what's next. Make the emails. I mean, that's a great way to do this. You give it a corpus that you are interested in turning into a PowerPoint, and you say, here's my essay on left-handed wind shifters. Please, make me a PowerPoint presentation. GPT-4 is going to be really good at that. Really good at that. Read the whole internet? Yeah. Up to date? Somewhere, somehow, somebody would need to commercialize that or charge you a subscription fee for it. Because Google works on getting you to click on something they make money from. I've said this a million times. I'll say it again. Google's not a search engine. No matter what you think Google is, the last thing on earth that Google is a search engine. What it is the finest, put the right message in front of the right person that they're most likely to click on, advertising engine ever developed in the universe. They just know how to put something in front of you that's going to make them money. They do, with Lambda and some other tools they have the capacity to answer your question perfectly. And they do because sometimes when the box at the top of Google, it's called winning the box. When someone wins the box, it very often is exactly the answer you're looking for. They can do it. But they don't make any money when they do that. Google is there to get you to click on stuff Google makes money from, for them to increase shareholder value. It's the best advertising engine ever created. What value to Google would giving you the right answer be without you clicking on something that they make money from? They'd have to charge a monthly fee. So is $20 a month right? Is $50 a month right? Is $10 a month right? I don't know. But somebody would have to come with a model that the vast majority of people would be willing to pay for. And then how do you know for something? Like, you can take something that happened before 2021 and you can ask ChatGPT about it. Maybe I'll do this next week when we get some extra time. You can ask it about a historic event, any event literally that happened before 2021 that was big enough to get on the internet. There'll be 2 sides to the story, 3 sides, 4 sides, 5 sides to the story. What is the editorial persuasion you'd like it to have? Through what lens do you want to view any of this? Do you really want that synthesized or synopsized? How would you even interpret the same story as told by Fox News Channel and MSNBC in the same document without a human being making sense of it? Since those 2 news organizations literally will watch the same event and call it two different things and describe it two different ways, dramatically different ways. So I think that it would be, in practice, very hard to build a generic tool that just went out to the internet and searched it and brought you back information that was correct. You're going to need some subject matter expertise, and you're absolutely going to need context, which leads me to what I think will happen. What I think will happen is that you will have the APIs that will be for pay usage-based APIs, and people will create apps that have either editorial points of view or specific kinds of filters that will allow you to, with a few clicks, communicate to the model what it is you're looking for and the way you want it presented to you. Because otherwise, you're just going to get paragraphs you're going to have to go through, and it would be like talking to somebody down the street who had just been in a bar listening to a story about the story that you're talking about. If you just think about the practical use of that, it's very, very different than when you're a writing assistant, where you're writing something, you've got something really specific in mind, and it's assisting you by bringing you the facts you need, or bringing you two different points of view that you can look at alternatively as you're writing, because you've got a thesis and a topic sentence that you started, which it's reading and understanding, and it knows where you're going. If you just search, hey, tell me about January 6th. And if you want to try something that will give you a result that I don't want to put on YouTube, go to ChatGPT and ask it the following questions. Ask it to describe the events of January 6th through a extreme right-wing lens, and then ask it to describe the events of January 6th chronologically, or the way, you could even tell it the way the New York Times might cover it, or you could also just say an extreme left point of view. Doesn't matter. Just ask it for two different things or three different things but tell it you want it to speak in those voices. ChatGPT will give you a credible version of a script that Fox News Channel will be happy to read, and it will give you a credible version of a script that MSNBC would be happy to read, and it will give you a credible version of a script that's somewhere down the middle if you tell it you want a middle-of-the-road, fact-based description of January 6th. You can't ask it, was it an insurrection or was it a bunch of tourists going through the Capitol? Because you're not going to get anything that's useful. You'll get stuff back, but it's not going to be useful. And so I think we've talked about this before. I'll put this up just one more time. This is probably worth thinking about. Remember, there's a task matrix here for how you think about using any of these tools. High stakes and low stakes are very obvious. High fluency means you just want a lot of words, and high accuracy means you need accuracy. So something that is super low stakes and low and high fluency, like tell me all about the dog breeds that are family friendly. If I'm not going to use that for anything too hardcore, that's way low into the left. If I'm asking it to give me information about Silicon Valley Bank, how it failed, assuming that happened before 2021, and or what, and should I make an investment in something. High stakes, and you need high accuracy. High and to the right here, that's probably not a great use for generative AI, conversational AI models. Or as low and to the left, anything that's high fluency, low stakes is always going to be good. So we're still all learning how to do this, and I think it's important to remember that this is new every single day. It's not kind of new. It's not sort of new. It's new every single day. Do not forget to ask for your POAP, which is new for today. ShellyPalmer.com/POAP. That will get you into all the fun, super secret handshake places that we're putting on over the next 3 months, and we'd like to have you there. Until then, I will be here next week, and I'm, as you know, this is absolutely my favorite favorite time of the week. Thank you for your questions today. You can always ask more questions at shellypalmer.com is where to find me. I am completely happy to do my best to answer your emails. I try to answer every one that comes in personally. So please feel free, Shelly at shellypalmer.com, whatever questions you might have. Do not forget that you can go to medacademy.com or just courses.shellypalmer.com and find all kinds of free stuff there. So that's the sort of, we're very excited to offer all this stuff completely free. If you're wondering why we do this completely free, it's because we're not trying to sell you guys anything. The people that want to hire our consulting company, they know how to find us. This is just information we want to make sure that's out in the universe. So thank you again for watching. I hope you'll take advantage of some of the free tools and resources that we offer. And I'm excited to see you next time. Everyone, take care, be careful, and have a great week.